Heart pounding, I spin around and crash straight into a tall, hard body. Well, girl, your family just died. Welcome to chapter 2 of the cringe fantasy romance, paranormal romance book I tried to write when I was 13, so over 10 years ago. If you haven't watched the first video, they are on my page. They should hopefully be clearly labelled. If they're not, give me a comment, have a go at me, and I'll go back and try and name them properly. For those of you who use CBA to do that, Fela is our main character. She's 17 years old. It's her birthday. Her friend, she found out last night, is moving countries, so she's very upset about that. It's her birthday. She goes down, she opens some presents, and her family have gotten her 2 tickets to a Glastonbury rock festival. And she's allowed to go with Callum, her friend, who's moving. She gets so upset by this, she accidentally sets the house on fire. We're not fully sure how she did it, but we could see a fireball in her hand, so that's probably related. And now we're on to chapter 2. I will read the last couple lines of chapter 1 though to try and resituate you on where we're actually at. I scrunched up my toes and blinked as fast as I could, wishing I could wake up. I could feel the energy draining from my body. I collapsed. As my body went limp, I hoped for a miracle. Chapter 2. A split second later, a dizzying feeling came over me, and threads of purple danced around my vision. My eyes flew open, and I was in the park outside, facing the roaring wreckage of my house. Sinking hopelessly to the ground, I watched as my uncle, mother, and siblings burned to death, sealed in their tomb. I would like to take a side note to say that I had a lovely upbringing, and I have never wished anything ill upon any of my family members. So I don't know where this came from. I think it's just like the innate need to have your main character go through trauma. That must be it. Slowly, the red came away from my vision, and I could see without the scarlet tint. So that's an editing issue, because I'm pretty sure she just said that she was seeing in purple. Just like that, all of my emotions came flooding back in. I let out a piercing scream. I was a murderer. I killed them. My guilt was so heavy, shattering my entire being, my body racked in sobs, trembling under the gravity of the inexplicable accident. It felt as though everything was black. Somewhere amongst the choking, the black was fractured. I needed to lock up my emotions, for now at least. Achingly, I wiped the tears from my eyes and questioned how I got outside. I should have been there, burning alongside them. Tears blinded my vision, and I thought about the life that my brother and sister wouldn't have. God. Oh my god, what is this? I feel like we're starting really heavy. I promise there's some lighter moments and some romance in there somewhere, but I think it's just we've got a few chapters of trauma first. Shallow streams began to trickle from my eyes once more. What would I do? My family were gone, and it was my fault. I couldn't breathe. Everyone was gone. I forced a deep, ragged breath. Girl, see, you could breathe, you just needed to focus on it. I forced a deep, ragged breath and wiped my face with my charred sleeve. Crazy things were going on, and I needed answers. My family didn't survive, but I could hardly bawl my eyes out in the middle of the park all my life. Girl, it's been like 10 minutes. You couldn't cry for 10 minutes as your family burns in a house and you think you did it. But no, she can't cry her whole life. So, I guess we have to move on. I could hardly bawl my eyes out in the middle of the park all my life. I needed money so I could give them the goodbye they deserve. A funeral. Instantly, I start sobbing again, and spots swam in my vision. My breaths came quick, but it felt like I wasn't keeping in any air. After what felt like days, a cool breeze flickered by, drying the tracks of the water on my cheeks, and stiffly I rose to my feet. Night had fallen, and the building that used to be my home was destroyed. I have tried to say the word fire brigade about 6 times now, and I keep saying it wrong. So we're going to try for a 7th. The fire brigade were ridding the last flames from the mound of dust. That's not how houses burn down, but okay. It seemed someone had thought of my house, even if I hadn't. Surprisingly, no one had turned up to talk or question me about the incident. That is a very good point. If you see a teenage girl absolutely sobbing her face off, just like on the grass. I don't know, like 20 meters away from the house. I actually have a very specific image of the scene in my mind that I've clearly remembered. She's close enough to the house where people can identify, oh, there's a very young girl who looks very upset by what's going on. Surely someone's going to come over and be like, are you okay? After I had stopped staring wistfully at the house, I sighed. What was going to happen? I felt no emotion and realised that the best way to get on would be to shut those feelings in a part of me that wouldn't open. Slowly, I erected solid walls, intent on keeping them up. Finally, I thought you were going to stare at the flames forever. Oh, I've accidentally read ahead and I want to die. Heart pounding, I spin around and crash straight into a tall, hard body. A tall, hard body. Stumbling back, I stare up into the sea green eyes of a boy about my age. I have been having a really, really bad day. I have been shooting fireballs from my hand and I teleported from inside my house to here, so I'm probably dangerous and psychotic. I possibly murdered my family, so now is not the time. I scratched my head. I was rambling a lot. The boy in front of me cocked his eyebrow, looking amused. I refused to let him make me feel like this. Well, girl, your family just died. Okay. I knew that if I wasn't sick to the depths of my stomach, I'd be having unwelcome fuzzy feelings. I stared defiantly up at him. So you should probably leave. Like now? I added the last bit when he made no move to back away, pushing the snow at my feet as I stared up. He reached out and grabbed my shoulder with a masculine arm. Feeling a flush rise up to my face, I glared harshly through my lashes and blinked at the stranger, fighting the knowledge that every part of me was aware of the place that he had made contact with my skin. And anyway, what gives you the right to judge me for mourning my family? How is it fair that I suffer so much loss just to be disrespected by someone as arrogant as you? I screamed, suddenly enraged that he dare make such a heartless comment. He blinks back at me, and I stare at him while silently fuming. Much to my disappointment, it was then that I noticed how good looking he was. Very good looking. I want to die. Shaking the thought from my head, it was a disastrous situation, and I couldn't be thinking about the attractiveness of my arrogant captor. I started to edge quietly away, giving up on going on the offensive. Unexpected to my new friend, I ducked and ran as fast as I could away from the man. I had covered a fair bit of land when another man, middle-aged, appeared in front of me from out of nowhere. Don't let Max mess with you. You are not psychotic, but... The man trailed off, oblivious to the fact that my face had turned paler than it was normally. This man doesn't know you. He doesn't know how pale you normally are, but sure. I swear I had done that exact thing that he had just done. I cut into his trail of thought. You just did. I did that. Wait, can you shoot fire out of your hands? No, don't answer that. I'm crazy. I'm hallucinating. I collapsed to the ground and hold my hands to my face whilst rocking slowly like Mother used to do to me as a child. Mother. A new flood of tears erupted and I began weeping all over again. The man in front of me stared awkwardly and didn't even bother to console me. No, you're not crazy. The man who was called Max had caught up. He looked down and saw me. He cleared his throat and continued, but in a far more discomforted manner. Okay, let's take a Google break. Is that the correct usage of that word? Discomfort. I don't think that's what I meant. That's not what I meant, but that's what I said, so we're locking in with that. And no, he can't create fire. I can. No one in the history of magic spelt MAJYK, just thought I'd highlight that, has been able to do both. I'll read that again. I got distracted by my atrocious classic. I'm edgy. I'm going to spell magic a different way. Okay. No, he can't create fire. I can. No one in the history of magic has been able to do both. Except you. Silence surrounded the park as I drank in the information. I stood up and turning to Max, I shook my head. and opened my mouth, a puzzled expression on my face. Punch me. Max's eyes widened. I can't hit girls, especially sad ones, he spluttered, surprised by the request. Just do it! By then I was growling. Max sighed as if he was tired. He still looked a little uncomfortable actually doing it. Okay, but you asked for it, he muttered resigned. He flexed his muscles and drew back into a punch. This man's going to full-on punch her. That's kind of crazy. Instinct took over, and before the hand made contact with my shoulder, I grabbed it and twisted his arm so that the hand was touching his shoulder blade. Ouch! Let go! You aren't dreaming! I am in so much pain! Just let go! Oops! I didn't know what came over me then. I had surprised myself with some genuine concern for the boy. I released his hand and took a moment to study him whilst he nursed his arm back to health. He had scruffy black hair that wasn't too short, green eyes that were mildly lighter than mine, and high cheekbones that gave him an unusual look. He had clothed himself in black leather, and he gave off a real bad boy vibe. Having stopped rolling his shoulders, he turned and stared at me. Averting my eyes, I tried to ignore the feel of his eyes. It's way too much eyes talk. Averting my eyes, I tried to ignore the feel of his eyes as they ran down my body and back up to rest up my face. The man that had appeared in front of me before cleared his throat. Well, it seems you have started the transformation already. We must hurry to Lillicidian and show you to the Queen. She refuses to have you greeted in any other way. My name is Samuel. The last bit was said whilst offering his hand. I weighed up the odds. Surely someone wouldn't be cruel enough to prank me after the events I had endured today. Hesitantly, I took it, saying, Well, this is a lot for me to take in. Lillicidian? Max gave a hearty chuckle before Samuel glared at him and continued. Yes, I can only imagine. I have lived in Lillicidian, our world, for my entire life. However, no time for chit-chat. We must hurry. The Queen is waiting. Wait, what? No, this is just a really good joke that has something to do with special effects, and you are just holograms or something. I'm not going anywhere. Look, you got me. Haha, it was hilarious. I sighed and shook my head. Take advantage of the crazy girl who claims to do mad things whilst her house burns down. By now I was crying again. I was surprised that I had any liquid left to cry with. Max awkwardly raised his arm and patted me on the shoulder. I feel as if I should remind you that you nearly dislocated my shoulder, and to do that, you would have had to be able to make contact with me. I don't think anyone would be impressed if I just dislocated it on my own. And if I was a hologram, you wouldn't have been able to touch me. Against all self-will, I laughed at his choice of words. Am I making a touch me joke? Oh, the pain. Oh. Look, we've almost finished the chapter. I can make it. Oh my god. How immature is that? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, we're fine. Cautiously, I stood in a natural position and grasped the teleporter's hand. What did I have to lose? Samuel nodded his gratitude, his long blonde hair flopping into his eyes, and motions for Max to join us. As he holds my hand, I feel the flush rising up. Girl, your family just died! Mentally, I lock the sentiment up and stare coolly into the distance. Then there is purple. And that is the end of chapter 2. Her family died. The fire got put out. These people showed up, and she was like, damn, he fine. My family's dead, but damn he fine. Let me go with this random middle-aged man and I don't know, 17, 18-year-old. Let's go to this crazy world that they're talking about. I'm sure it'll be fine. Thank you if you have made it this far to the end of chapter 2. I'm not sure how many chapters I have. Apparently I have 25, or I at least got to the start of 25. I don't know how well chaptered they are. I mean, this book is shit. Like, it's entertaining, but it's shit. So you can ignore the fact that I was going to be like, oh, I don't know how well the chapter splits are going to be. I don't know whether they're going to be, like, well cliffhangered or well split up. I just had a girl have her entire family die. She probably caused it. And then in the next chapter, she was like, me cute. So if that doesn't set like the general tone of the book, I don't know what will. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching chapter 2, and tune in soon for chapter 3.